below zero hits us in life. Built for the cold, you say? That ain't right. Too cold for the average Joe, just right for those who hear the show. In the image of greatness you were made, but taught by the world to be played. A new generation, we're building. No victims, we're creating. Them haters, keep hating, cause Gen Zero, we blazing. Welcome to another episode of the Built for the Cold podcast. Too cold for the average Joe, just right for me and the listeners and viewers of this show. Today, I want to cover something kind of going off of separation season a little bit. We just finished at the end of 2025. At this time that this is recording, it's still 2025. But when you guys are going to see this, it's the new year. You've made some New Year's resolutions. You've made some changes. You know what's really funny? I find the people that wait to take action until the new year and treat it as an opportunity tend to be the ones that kind of forget they even did that in the first place. They tend to be the ones that don't follow through after like 2 weeks. Not that it's bad, but I think the more that you start to see the new year as more of a semantic than an opportunity, your life will radically start to change. What I mean by a semantic is you kind of just see it as a refresh, kind of like, okay, I'm on track here. Here's where things go. It's kind of like a recalibration of your life and the actions you're taking versus like a whole life changing thing because it's a new year. It's going to be a new me. The new year, new me people tend to be kind of like the one day people who tend to be the someday people. And then we know where that goes. So we don't need to bore you with that. What I want to give you guys today is something that was on my heart to share because it's from a book. Now, again, I know some of you are going to tune out by hearing the title of this. It's called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. It's not just about creating financial wealth, by the way. It's actually how to set up success in your life. And it talks about something called acting in the certain way. Like people that have that it factor about them that just make things happen regardless of what's going on around them. They don't play victim to their circumstances. They actually succeed in spite of whatever's going on in their life. Those people act in a very certain way. Now, until recently, I was kind of just doing cardio. I think it was literally on Christmas, and I was doing cardio that day. It's just funny when you do things that most others aren't willing to do. The universe tends to reward the action and the energy you put into the universe and give you insights you never thought possible. And all of a sudden, this formula came to my head of like, I've never actually, how would I say it? The certain way was never clear, but I knew there had to be factors that played into it. And I want to give you the science of that today, the actual factors that play into your ability to execute. Okay. Execution is the ability to actually manufacture and make the desires of your heart actually happen in front of your eyes, to make it happen exactly as you put it on paper. Okay. Doesn't mean that's going to happen exactly in a time frame. Doesn't mean it's going to happen exactly how you see it happening. It's funny that sometimes when you put that energy in the universe, you tend to get actually even more than what you want. Like I remember when I did this, just to give you guys an example. I'm not going to talk about money because I know some of you kind of like, was Joe just about money or whatever? No, this is about like life. I'll use my relationship with Amanda. Okay. Before I met her, I literally wrote down every single thing I wanted in my wife, like I had shared before in separation season, down to the physical attributes, exactly what she'd be interested in, all those different things, and to the exact T, but even beyond what I put on my paper, God provided. Okay. And that's what happened for me. She still to this day, when she sees that list, can't believe, because I dated it and everything, she couldn't believe that what I wrote down, right? And not that she can't believe it. It's amazing that happened, but was just like so in awe of like, wow, you really put down your goals and specific things and you act toward them in a very specific, certain way, like that book talks about. You'd be amazed at what happens in your life. And this is how to do it. Okay. So your level of execution comes down to 4 different things. Okay. It comes down to your goals and how specific your goals are. We talk about SMART goals, right? Obviously, you guys can look up SMART and what that all means, specific, measurable, everything else. Go look at that yourself here. Okay. And your systems. Do you have the systems actually to support your goals? James Clear talks about it. Atomic Habits. You never rise to the level of your goal. You fall to the level of your systems. Okay. 2 other things that impact your ability to execute. Okay. Number 1, I call it the lack of urgency. A lot of people live with. This is why they feel they can wait till the new year and they treat kind of like the last 2 months of the year like they have all this time to just make their goals and dreams happen. By the time the new year hits, they're just going to be ready at that point. When the people actually moving forward see November and December as like, that's a lot of time to do a lot of incredible things before the end of the year and make things happen. Okay. That's urgency and what we call barriers. Now, barriers can be in the forms of different things. Barriers can be kind of what we call your hidden what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like hidden assumptions per se, hidden assumptions about life, about your ability, about how you perform. We could call these your limiting beliefs. Now, here's the thing: hidden assumptions and limiting beliefs. The reason why they can be so dangerous in your life, preventing you from executing, is that hidden beliefs or hidden assumptions and limiting beliefs are not defined by whether you know about them or not. They're things that we've gotten from our environments, from our parents, from our childhood, how we interacted with people growing up. A lot of things that we don't even recognize within ourselves unless we become self aware. That's why we have coaches and that's why we read books. Okay. That's how you become more self aware of different things about knowledge out there you didn't possess. Okay. Then the other ones are life challenges and distractions. I don't think it's too hard to recognize that sometimes we can't control what happens to us in life, the life challenges that may come, or some of the distractions that may come. Family member gets sick, there's a death in the family, something crazy happens at work, you lose your job, your business goes under, all those different things, right? We can only mitigate our barriers, not completely eliminate them, but we can do our best to control the ones that are controllable, which is think of distractions, people that are involved in different things where they're just drifting through life. You know, when people are drifting, when you look at them today and you look at them 3 years ago, they're the exact same spot, driving the exact same cars, living in the exact same place, doing nothing different for the holidays than they've done before. And they're just letting life just blow them whichever way the wind goes. And that's drifting. Okay, we talk about that. Obviously, the book Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil, talks about that very well. Drifting is one of the devil's greatest tools to prevent you from actually living out your purpose. Okay, that's drifting. The next thing that's distraction is anything that's numbing. Anything that regards the term binge, binge drinking, binge watching, binge sleeping around, binge whatever it is, the binging is just actually trying to numb the reality that you want to avoid. Hey, that's a distraction. And like we talked about, some distractions and life challenges are out of our control. How do we mitigate those, right? Versus completely eliminate them. I will also say life challenges, right? Those ones that we can't control, those kind of just happen at random. Okay. Those will happen. And it's just how we bounce back from them. It's not what happens to you, it's how you respond through it and how fast you respond. Right? People with more urgency tend to see this, not create focal points in their life out of life challenges or different things out of their control. They don't like give it so much life. It's just like, okay, this happens. This is the reality. We need to keep moving because we have things to accomplish. We have urgency. Now, there are life challenges you can force into your life. Those are why we have different like programs out there. Obviously, you guys know about my free 90 frames program. If you want to build habits and stack habits in your life, I'm sure maybe you've heard of 75 hard. There are all these different things out there that can actually force change and like create habits that actually brings challenges to your life. Now, are those necessarily barriers? Not necessarily, but they actually build systems so you can handle more things and expand your capacity into the future. So the more that you have that actually aren't supporting and creating more walls in your life, the harder it becomes to execute. So hopefully that makes sense. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to the systems part of this, okay, again, this is the secondary part of the forward formula is that when you're actually systems are just relevant to your action, right? And the action you take to actually build the systems and the habits you need to actually support the very specific goals that you have, as long as they're urgency and you're able to mitigate most of the barriers you have to success. Okay. This is how, again, to create anything you want. I don't care if it's relationships. I don't care if it's business, your financial, your health, your you name it. All the different things of areas you want to get good at. It could even be like playing the guitar, whatever it is. Okay. It's how it comes down to how you execute and what you act within. And are those actions what we call aligned? Are they aligned with your purpose? Do they actually support what you're doing, or is it just action to do action? I find a lot of people doing a lot of work around nothing that's going to get them to what they actually want. They never actually take a look at the path they're on. And is it actually going to get me to where I want? Because sometimes you actually have to have an entirely new path to actually get the life you want. That's a funny concept, isn't it? But it has to be aligned. You actually have to be able to sustain it. It's not just action that you can do intensely for a week. This is what happens and why people burn out on their fitness goals after 2 weeks into the new year is because they went from 0 to like 1,000. and they're like in the gym every single day. They're sore. Their body wasn't ready for it. Some people get sick. And then all of a sudden, it's just back to like, oh, well, maybe it just wasn't meant for me. No, you didn't build an action that you could sustain, actually build over time. You went all crazy because of a new year and burned yourself out very quick. Okay. The other two things that actually prevents people from acting or kind of like getting the action part down, because life rewards action, it doesn't reward thinking about it, right? But thinking about it is what I call the delay to implementation. So you know there's an action that's going to be good for you, but you just feel like, hey, I can just get to that tomorrow. Well, the more you do that and stack that against yourself, not only the more barriers you create, but you're just delaying the inevitable. You know that's the right thing to do to put yourself in the position you want, but you're delaying it. That actually hinders the action, right? The other thing is what I call the perfection complex, right? People feeling like they need the perfect action to move forward. And I have never found this not true. Sorry, it's a double negative. I've always found this true. Imperfect action beats perfect inaction every single day of the week. Okay. But people get stuck in the perfection complex because they're too afraid to look stupid. Okay. They're afraid to look dumb. They're afraid to look new. Right. These are a couple things, but they're also, they care way too much what other people think. Care way too much what others think. Now, I think in perspective, all of us think about what others think every now and then. Otherwise, none of us would wear the clothes that we wear, drive the cars that we drive, have the homes that we have. We wouldn't do that, right? But it's how much are you letting that influence what you do? Is it too much? Are you designing the life you want, or are you designing the life others want you to live? That's the biggest thing, right? And when you do that and focus too much on having everything be perfect, it actually influences how much you delay to act, whether it's even the right sustained action and aligned action. Those things are going to take away from the action. The more you delay the inevitable action that's going to put yourself in the best position possible, the less systems you're able to build that actually help you put yourself in a position to achieve the goals you want. And you're not going to build things that actually help you overcome the barriers. Because what happens is if we don't have those things, think of it. If you don't have these things, and all of a sudden the lack of urgency is there and more barriers happen, what happens by default? The barriers become too much because there's nothing else outpowering it. And that's why most people that you see around you never actually get the result they want, because they don't understand how these things work and how everything is an ebb and flow, and they have to outdo with these other factors, the science formula behind it, the barriers and the different things here that are mostly inside their control. What's in our control? Let's just evaluate what's in our control. We can control what our goals are. You can just sit down with a piece of paper, write out specifically the life you want. For the most part, you can control your systems. Why? Because you can control how you act. Is it aligned? Is it sustained? How soon do you act? And do you care too much? What others think? Do you care to look stupid? Do you care to look new? You can control, for the most part, most of those things, right? What's the only thing on here we really can't control? We can control our urgency, how fast we want to do things, right? What we just can't control sometimes is all these, the barriers, the life challenges that happen, right? Things that are outside of our control. But what can we control from the barriers? Well, hidden assumptions that we learn, becoming more self-aware, understanding where our limiting beliefs are, and not allowing distractions that drift us or numb us through life hold us back. So hopefully, after seeing this, you are very empowered to not just make this new year, new me thing. It's more of like, I'm actually equipped with the understanding that I have and areas I need to improve in to actually make my goals happen. Hope this helps. Hope you get another cup of Joe to go stimulate your brain to really take some time and go do this. But we'll see you on the next one, and Happy New Year. This is where winners learn to be great. Built for the cold, you say? That damn straight. The lessons, the love, the insights from above. Hope you take them and grow, even with another cup of Joe. Thank you for dropping in and listening to the show.